All right, so for those you may not be aware who this individual is, his name is Royce White. Now, he was a former NBA player. Um, didn't really last that long in the league because the guy had a fear of flying. Right, I think he played all like 3 games for the Houston Rockets or whatever like that. But nevertheless, so he goes from NBA player to Black Lives Matter activist to Steve Bannon's acolyte. We all know Steve Bannon is a far right individual. He is currently doing time in prison now for not showing up to his congressional subpoena. That's Steve Bannon. And Royce White is the acolyte to Steve Bannon. Well, and before we continue, I want to give a shout out to Ticket because he talked about this yesterday on his live stream. This story originated back in May, and according to the Daily Beast, and I'm read the article coming from there, and I'll expand on that. Say at 5 o'clock in the morning, 1 week after Republican Royce White lost his 2022 Minnesota congressional primary because he was trying to become a senator. His campaign shelled out more than $1,200 in donor funds to a vendor 1,800 miles away, not typically associated with political expenses. An all-new strip club in Miami, Florida called the Gold Rush Cabaret. That's just one among dozens of outlandish spending for previously unreported payments that the Daily Beast identified from White's 2022 Federal Election Commission filings. Several campaign finance experts characterize some of the expenses as potentially illegal spending, right? Because when you have campaign money, that money is not supposed to go to personal expenses. It is to go towards your campaign. If you don't have a campaign, then you're supposed to give that money back. Or you can save that money to launch another campaign. But what you can't do is take that money and start funding your own lifestyle with it. And by White's own admission, tens of thousands of dollars in expenses supported what he characterized as a campaign entourage that accompanied him, a retired ex-NBA player during the 2022 season of Ice Cube's Big Three League, up to the primary and beyond. Because Royce White also played in the Big Three League. He did. He played for this team called Power. Now, his campaign filings, however, seem to go overlooked for years as the outsider candidate fashioned a second insurgent bid for 2024. Royce White, star athlete, conspiracy theorist, activist, and purveyor of anti-Semitism, is one of several GOP hopefuls vying for the Senate in Minnesota, where the Republican Party unexpectedly endorsed him in a landslide. The strip club payments are the tip of the iceberg. According to 2022 campaign reports, it found that numerous items boggle legal experts. The unusual expenses include more than $100,000 in mysterious wire transfers and checks reported as paid to the campaign. Hefty tabs at spicy night spots, getaways at posh hotels in at least 7 states, thousands of dollars in limousine expenses, unexplained cash withdrawals, eye-popping purchases from electronics, sporting goods, clothing, and musical instrument retailers, and the Dribble Up Smart basketball training app that White admitted might be personal use. That's some hefty campaign finance day violations, sir. I mean, this type of campaign finance violation carries jail time. Hefty jail time. And forget the fine. This type of activity here, where you're going on lavish trips, strip clubs, posh hotels, expensive foods, unexplained cash withdrawals, and all that, buying personal items, that type of shit carries jail time. Now, as I stated early in the stream, he was a first round pick turned Black Lives Matter activist turned Steve Bannon conspiracy theorist or protege. White has drawn rebukes for anti-Semitic remarks, conspiracy theories, abortion, hypocrisy, and profane language. But we all cuss. I mean, I cuss. So big fucking deal, right? So I'm not going to get on him for cussing because I cuss. And who in this society has not uttered a curse word every once in a while? So come on now, the fuck out of here. But this ain't small stuff. Now, look. This is crazy. This is freaking crazy. Now, as of right now, he is still on the he's still on vying to become a senator because he landed the endorsement of the Republican Party. He claimed more than 2/3 of the vote. So when he lost, that was back in 2022 when he lost. So he threw his hat back in the ring again. So if there was any kind of discrepancy, I hope I cleared that up. So he's trying to run again, and the winner of that primary will go on to face Amy Klobuchar in November. Now, for those of you who may not be aware, Amy Klobuchar was a former prosecutor. She was on Biden's shortlist to become VP back in 2020. And then the George Floyd situation happened. And then it came out that Amy Klobuchar was a prosecutor and that Amy Klobuchar could have gone after Derek Chauvin, the man responsible for killing George Floyd. And she chose not to, despite the many complaints and incidents levied against Derek Chauvin. And that ended any kind of aspirations for Amy Klobuchar to become Joe Biden's running mate. That's how we ended up with camel toe, oh, camel toe, right? Or Kamala Harris, for those of you may not be aware who I refer to, right? Asked whether he was aware of the outrageous 2022 spending, the GOP chair, David Hand, told the Daily Beast that he was not in his office and that he could not comment. So, in other words, he does know about it. He just chose not to talk about it. They're saying this man outdid George Santos, if that's his real name. He just don't realize the kind of trouble that he's in. I don't understand. I don't think Royce White really understands the gravitas of the situation. You can't misappropriate campaign funds. That means the money that you have left over for your campaign should be given back to the party, or you need to save that money for your own aspirations to run again. But what you cannot do is what I mentioned already early in the stream, using it for personal expenses. So once again, for the people in the back, right? If you are a politician running for political office and you're getting donor money and you're getting other funding, right, for the campaign, it needs to be strictly for the campaign. When you go to file, it all your expenses needs to be justified, and it needs to be saying that, hey, this money that I've spent, these are the expenses for the campaign, whether it be for food, travel, lodging, things like that. But what you cannot do with that campaign money is, oh man, I got back child support, I need to go pay that. Or I got this car loan I got to pay off. Or I got this house note I got to pay off. Or I want to get a little I'm gonna get a little freaky tonight. I'm gonna have some hoes come over my house, and then we could be raining dollar signs while they twerk on my face and all that. Shake your ass. Watch yourself. Shake your ass. Show me what you're working with. No, you can't do none of that. Can't do none of that. So, and all this is allegations, right? The man is presumed innocent until proven guilty in the court of law. I just felt I need to throw that out there so that way, people, they ain't trying to get me for committing slander and shit. What's up, main event Mark? My sister Carla Jenkins, Mike Lewis, Reese Rolex. Salute to all y'all in the building. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. But yeah, man. Yeah, man, we got these, ex-NBA players out here, committing criminal activity and all that. Big Baby already in the pokey for, his role in the whole dental scheme, the dental fraud scheme. Him, Sebastian Telfair, Tony Allen barely missed prison. Tony Allen ended up getting a slap on the wrist. All these dudes, man, getting caught up, man, doing some wild shit. And then you got to pay back that money. You think you're gonna commit that, and you don't think people are gonna come back for their money? And then another thing too, if these donors is seeing this, right? You think a donor want to give money to a person for their campaign? If it turns out that this person going around taking that money and spending on their own lifestyle and all that, there's countless incidents of individuals that we've seen misappropriate campaign funds. Hell, even Herschel Walker of all people ain't dumb enough to misappropriate campaign funds to this, and I gotta stress, to this moment, because we have not seen or heard any evidence or any allegation of Herschel Walker misappropriating campaign funds. He might be sitting on it, but he haven't spent it. So I give that dumbass motherfucker a shred of credit for that. But yeah, man, this shit is crazy, man. This shit's crazy. So how you gonna justify this? Spending money at the Gold Rush Cabaret? Huh. Then it says the Gold Rush Cabaret website bills the spot as a full liquor and full nude gentlemen's club that features whale rooms. What the fuck is a whale room? Is that where all the fat chicks be at? So you get to make it rain and spill bottles of Ace of Spades on some fat bitch, right? That's the whale room? I'm just asking. I don't know. I'm fucking ignorant when it comes to this shit. I don't do strip clubs. The campaign racked up expense at 5 a.m. on August 16th 2022, 1 week after White lost the Republican primary, according to FEC documents or the Federal Elections Commission. He appears to have dropped another $1,600 in donor cash on a limo and car service that same day. Those weren't the operation's only big post-loss expenses. The campaign also laid out tens of thousands of dollars after the primary on luxury lodging, car service, airline tickets, meals, and other costs across a half a dozen states. In all, White's campaign appears to have spent around $30,000 on hotels, many outside of the states where he was running. Also concerning are more than $100,000 in outgoing wire transfers and checks with no stated receipt or purpose. Those payments, all experts say, coupled with multiple unexplained cash withdrawals, raised concerns about whether White or staffers treated campaign donations like personal funds. Now, the director of legislative affairs at Common Cause and a campaign finance expert agreed on the apparent personal use. He also told the Daily Beast that the FEC needs to do some digging and ask what those wire transfers and checks were for. It's not clear how White's claim squares with many of the campaign expenses, including more than $32,000 charged around the country after losing the primary back in 2022. Costs that White himself told the Daily Beast are also connected to his tour with the Big Three League. He claimed that he was paying for aides to travel with him and at least in part film the games video for what already was then a zombie campaign. In fact, much of White's campaign spending overall lines up with the 2022 Big Three schedule, which they saw begin play in Chicago before moving to Dallas, then Tampa, then Atlanta for the playoffs and the championship. For instance, the campaign spent more than $4,300 on food and hotels in the Windy City in June, with several payments at the host stadium. When Dallas took up in mid-July, the campaign went on a Big D shopping spree, including $311 at a Macy's and another $560 at Cavender's Western Wear, which sells cowboy boots. The campaign also splashed out $1,560 at the 5 a.m. theater, an exclusive after-hours entertainment venue in Dallas, with another $960 the same night at In Crowd Life, a local party company. One of the Dallas tournaments butted up against the election, a fact underscored with an $870 payment to the Dallas Omni Hotel the same day. Wow. Wow, bro. Wow, boy, you just out there just doing it up, huh? You just out there doing it up. Let's see what else this thing say. Wow. Yeah, donors are not going to like this. They're not going to like the fact that you're taking their money and just splurging it away on cars, hoes, and clothes. Amongst other potential violations, the campaign appears to have used White's brief 2022 bid to build out a wardrobe with hundreds apiece to Hemi's haberdashery to I can't even pronounce this shit. Jaime's haberdashery, K&G fashion superstore, New Balance, Lululemon, Nordstrom, Nike, ASOS, Express, and Crocs. White's donors also appeared to have footed thousands of dollars in costs for hobby and sports equipment, including more than $3,200 combined to musical instrument retailer Guitar Center, more than $2,500 at Dick's Sporting Goods, and more than $700 at Sally's Beauty Stores in 2 states. $700 at Sally's Beauty Store. Where they buying? They bought out all the fucking hair and Dark and Lovely. What the fuck? They just buying our hair and buying our Dark and Lovely and all kinds of activator in that bitch. Anyway, as for the wire transfers and checks, White said those payments went to people who worked on the campaign, but he wouldn't elaborate and shifted the responsibility to his treasurer. If my treasurer didn't have the names, then that's something we can reconcile. Okay, you're just deflecting, dude. So you don't got no control of what's going on with your campaign. People just taking that money and just throwing it up in the air, waving it around like you just don't care. You got motherfuckers going in the strip club, leaving with a profit, right? The fuck out of here, bro. They said the 2022 campaign treasurer was an attorney with a well-known Minneapolis conservative firm whose digital signature is on the reports. He resigned in 2022, then rejoined days later, then re-signed again for good in August, but since has changed firms. You're done. If this shit is true, right, and I don't have no reason to believe it's not true, because, look, that stuff has to be tracked. That money, every single penny has to be accounted for when you're out here campaigning. And the fact that you're out here doing all this, man, look, man, you're going to get busted, right? And I have no reason to believe that this shit's a lie, because this is way too much detail for it to be a lie. You're done. You're done. Now, your best bet is to, cop a plea, because they got your ass dead to rights. Now, the only way I can see you getting yourself getting your butt out of the crack, depending on how long this shit takes and how long the investigation takes and charges get filed and the trial and all that. And by that time, Trump might end up regaining the White House. Trump might throw you a bone. And then what's up with these politicians, right? See, when I talk about the Republicans and Democrats, these motherfuckers ain't nothing but a bunch of professional bullshit artists. Self-serving professional bullshit artists at that. See, while you and I out here struggling to make ends meet and paying $10 for fucking bacon and all that, these guys out here, taking all kinds of money, funding their own lifestyle, whether these dudes come in broke as fuck, leave rich as fuck. Anyway. Tell me what y'all think about this story. This story here is fucking crazy, bro. But anyway, if you're not subscribed to this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and share these videos on your social media platform. Now, if I can't pronounce the name of a brand, that's how you know that shit's expensive as fuck. If I've never heard of it or I can't pronounce it, you know that shit's expensive as fuck. Because I've never heard of whatever that H brand is. Right? That expensive ass fancy hat joint, whatever like that, whatever. Shouts out to the LDBC. This your man. Scream at me. Ho!